Hi, welcome to episode 2 of No Cash, No Worries, a series where we look at payment devices on the market for buskers. In the last episode, I went through my ideal payment device checklist. If you missed that one, I will link it up here and in the description down below. You can go and have a look at that one and then come back here. In today's episode, we're going to be having a look at my current payment device, which is the Square Reader. Now, today's video is not sponsored. I am just doing some research and sharing it with you. So a little bit about the company first. So Square is a payment system developed by Block Inc. It was launched in 2009 and it's aimed at small and medium businesses. Block Inc. also owns the services Cash App, Afterpay, Weebly, and Tidal, so they are a pretty big company. Square Readers are supported in Australia, the US, Canada, the UK, Ireland, France, Spain, and Japan. It's a long list. So now we've gone through the basics, let's have a look at some of the features and how this stacks up against my ideal checklist. It does accept contactless and chip payments. It doesn't accept swipe payments. But that being said, when I purchased this, in the box they included a magstripe reader. Now, they still sell these in the US and possibly in other countries I didn't quite check. But they are no longer including it in the Australian box. So this one connects into your headphone jack if you have one. And the fact that a lot of devices now don't have headphone jacks may be part of the reason why they're no longer including this.
A little more info on these magstripe readers before we move on. They're actually free to order when you sign up to Square's service on the US or Canadian websites for US or Canadian customers. They also make a Lightning connector version for iOS devices, which I found quite interesting. Note that my magstripe reader won't accept payments from cards that also have a chip. I have a card that I can use via swipe or chip, and I tested it out and it just told me to use the Square Reader to process that payment instead. So as far as I can tell, they're not a reliable standalone option given how most cards have chip technology nowadays.
I haven't ever needed it, so I think the fact that it's now just this one is fine. It is small, it's light, it does have a built-in rechargeable battery, and it does last for a day without needing to be recharged. Now, because I don't take it out busking for a full 9 to 5 work day, I get a lot more days out of it than just the one before it needs to be recharged. It is wireless, it does have that Bluetooth connection, and it does use your mobile's internet. It doesn't process payments offline, but it also just doesn't need its own data SIM, so there's no extra costs in that way. It is an easy to use device, and it does have a simple companion mobile app. It can also send the electronic receipts either to a phone number or an email. It is affordable with a low upfront cost here in Australia of $59. That being said, the upfront cost does vary per country, so go and check on your country's website. I've gathered them for today. It's currently the 8th of July while I'm filming this. So here are the current prices. Also a couple of special offers on at the moment. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I just noticed them while I was doing my research and I thought I'd quickly share them. So for people in France, there is a special offer at the moment that ends the 31st of August. If you register, you can receive your first Square Reader for only €1 using the code WELCOME. And for people in Spain, the special offer ends the 31st of July, so a little bit sooner. But if you sign up for free, you can get your first Square Reader for only €5 plus VAT using the code HOLA, which I think is said OLA, but I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Now, there are no ongoing costs with Square, which is one of the features I love about it. And the transaction fees are low at 1.9% for us here in Australia. Once again, country to country, it does vary for these fees, and I will once again chuck them up on the screen. I wanted to figure out what the comparison was between these fees once we actually converted it. And so I converted everything to a $10 Australian donation and worked out the fees on that. Ireland did have a plus VAT fee, which I wasn't sure what that would be. So I could only work that one out off of the percentage that was there. So it would be a little less than that. And also the Japan website said that for different types of payment, it would be between 3.25 and 3.95. I did the calculation off of the maximum there, the 3.95. It does have fast payment, so most of the time I've been paid out overnight. I did get an email last night. It's just like crazy that it's just come in time for me to make this video, but they're advertising now that they are offering instant payments for an additional 1.5% fee here in Australia. I'm not sure exactly what that would be in other countries or whether they're even offering that in other countries. But say I got paid $10, I would be looking at a 19-cent fee for the transaction. And if I wanted an instant payment, I could then pay another 15 cents to get that straight away. Now you get to the part of the checklist that is more busking orientated. So the main thing I am looking for is self-service style, and this unfortunately does not have that. But you've got to keep in mind that the price is just so low that it is worth having one of these, even though it is missing that functionality. So it doesn't have customer initiated donations, and you do have to interrupt your busking performance to use this. Multiple customizable donation amounts. Now this is something that I would say yes and no. Yes, it does have the ability within the app to customize your own items, to create items with varying amounts or items with set amounts, and then just choose them from the screen. So yes, it does have that, but it's not something that the customer can use, and that's the whole point of this checklist item, to have those like highly visible preset buttons. There are no preset buttons on here. There's one button to switch it on, and then it times out. It doesn't even turn it off. It does, I guess, have touch screen buttons in that it is on the app. And it does have a keypad as a touchscreen on the app. These are kind of like, they're not yes, they're not no, but since the app just isn't intended for customer use, it's not really meeting the requirements I'm after. So then clear instructions for customer use, well, it's not meant for customer use, so no. And lastly, compatible with a floor stand. So yes, because this one actually fits into a mobile phone style mount that can go on a tripod. And tripods are just wonderful for collapsing down, being lightweight, being very portable. That is a great function of this as well. So overall, this is a great device, especially if you don't have much money to put towards something like this. But it is really let down in that area of not being able to have the customers actually work it, having to reintroduce your busking performance. That being said, this won't be the last time in this series that we see the Square Reader. There will be an upcoming episode where I give you some tips on how to optimize this for busking, and another where we test out an app that can be integrated with the Square Reader. So they will be coming up, but the next episode will actually be on its larger sibling, the Square Stand. Now this was recently released and I am very excited about it. So we will be having a look to see whether it is worth upgrading from the little old Square Reader to the much bigger Square Stand. So if you're interested in seeing any of those episodes, please make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on. If you like today's episode, please give it a thumbs up. And I hope you are having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.